So a smoke testing means, right, when application is developed, right? So this is your application. Okay, so this application is developed. Suppose my app. Okay, so this application is developed. So developer have developed this application, and like okay, so just they have developed this application. It's all the coding is there. So developer when develop this application, and that code is called source code. After that they will compile the code and they will execute the code. So this application is working fine after compiling the code and executing the code and getting right output. Means as per expectation this application is working fine. After that what they will do, they will convert this after that this will convert it into the build. So build is nothing but this is your executable code. Okay, so build is nothing but executable code. Executable file. Why build is required? Because we have to deploy this application to the different environment. So this application is in the dev environment, and okay, this is your dev. Now going to, after executing and after building this, I'm going to deploy in test environment. So now we are here. So we have a build, right? So this build, okay, while making this executable code, the developer will test this build or executable file. Right, this application is converted into the build and executable file. Then we have to also test, right? If they will not test and deploy in the test environment, then while creating the build, if something went wrong, right? So what happened? It will not work properly, or we having the defect of this executable file. So while developing the executable file or build, developer do testing. Okay, that is called a smoke testing. So what is the smoke testing? So when developing the application, after the developer will make the build is nothing but this is the executable code. So before deploying in the different environment or releasing the build in the another environment, developer do the testing, that is called a smoke testing. What is sanity testing? So in this my app, we have a functionality called we have a functionality called okay. So this is the client requirement. After they want to add here some we have a okay, so I'll make it here. So this is application class test. Just making one, just consider this application. So we have, or I will write this app only. Oh, my app. Okay, so what happened? So we have a different functionality here, like void login page. This is the one stuff. We have another functionality, void registration page. and we have a like another functionality, home page. Okay, home page. Home page. So these are the functionality already developed. So after developing this application and already tested and deployed in the testing environment, after that they will release in the production environment. But the client requirement, they want to some changes in this my app application. So what the changes, they want to add one more functionality. Okay, so they want to add one more functionality. After 1 year again they will come to software company guy who developed the application, or if it is the product based company, they will go contact to the developer people or making the meeting. Hey, I need some changes, I want to add some discount coupon, right? So they having some changes, these changes. Then what happened? Developer will get this mail. Hey, I need some. I want to add one more functionality on the application. So again, big developer will come in this file. Got it, right? Or they will come in this. They will modify this executable code also. After modifying this executable code, what happened? Developer is not doing testing here. So in existing build, they have did some changes. Then what happened here? Again, he did not do the smoke testing. He will simply did the changes. Now the tester will test this. So what is the sanity testing? Existing build is there, they have added the new functionality. So what the tester will test? Tester will test it should not affect existing build, and whatever existing build is there, if I added the new functionality, it should be not affected the existing, and also check the new functionality is working or not. That is called sanity testing. Okay, so after the build is developed, just before releasing the build, developer will check whether the build is proper or not. That is known as a smoke testing. A smoke testing is a kind of software testing performed after software build to ascertain that a critical functionality of the program is working fine or not. It executed before any detailed or functional or regression tests are executed on the software build, right? So functional regression testing will do test engineer, means test environment. So before deploying this, they will check this build is working properly or not, means critical functionality is working properly or not. If it verify that the critical functionality of the system is working fine or not. For example, a typical smoke test could be verify that the application launched successfully or not. Sanity testing is a kind of software testing performed after receiving a software build with a minor changes in the code, with a minor changes of the code or functionality, to ascertain that the bugs has been fixed, whether issue are introduced due to these changes. To do some same on will check the following: whether the build is properly installed into the environment or not, whether one can navigate all the pages and application or not, whether all the important object available or not, right? So they will test all the stuffs after doing the changes. So what is the difference between sanity testing and a smoke testing? A smoke testing is performed to ascertain that the critical functionality of a program has been fixed or not. Sanity testing is done to check the new functionality is working fine or not. I think this sentence something just here, right? It will check the new functionality or existing functionality. You can add this in this point. This testing is performed by tester by the developer. Sanity testing usually performed a tester. So here sometime developer is also involved and tester is also involved, but here only tester is involved. A smoke testing is subset of acceptance testing. So I will come on that acceptance testing, so we'll get more clarity. And sanity testing is a subset of regression testing. So when you will come on that, so you can relate with sanity and a smoke testing. Okay, so a smoke testing is usually a documented or a scripted. Sanity testing usually not a documented and a scripted. So this is the one type of very important type of the testing. So mostly time we have to do this type of the testing. So if you will go in this in your organization, so they will tell you, hey, can you do the smoke testing and can you do the sanity testing? Then you have an idea about of that when we have to do this smoke testing and sanity testing, and what is the difference between a smoke testing and sanity testing. So we are learning types of the testing. Okay, in manual testing practical stuff is very less. We have to understand the scenario and we have to find the we have to write the test cases. So if I will explain, so we have a two part of that. So we are learning right now the types of the testing, and another part we will learn this test scenario, how to write the test cases. I will give you the template of the test cases, you have to write the test cases. So that is the 1 week. After that you have to learn like 1 and 2 tools. So one is your defect tracking tool, so not a big deal, that only tools having the navigation steps, but I will tell you the steps of the tools. Some of the tools are licensed, so I cannot show you the practically, but in YouTube many videos are there, you can go through that and you can explore your thing, not a big deal, you can learn within 1 day. So we have to understand how to find the scenario, how to write the test cases, because this is your job. And defect tracking tool, every company having their own tools. So how the defect will raise might be just I am getting some defect in application. I have one question, what is the difference between defect and error? Anyone can explain? What is the difference between defect and error? No idea? Defect and error. Srishti, I explained in Java.
After the delivery, the software client find the defect, and the error is.
So what type? Can you give me one example of that?
Defect example.
Yes. Okay, no problem. Okay. So we have this. It's not too good. Okay. So this is your. I will tell you. Okay, defect. Just consider, because I want to tell you like in real time, okay, how real time working all the stuff, right? So what is the defect? So this is your VMs, okay. We have a virtual machine. So virtual machine is like your system only. When I will tell you virtual machine, you understand this is your system, that's it, right? When I will tell you virtual machine, so virtual machine is like you are opening your laptop, right? So that is the physical but virtual it will open in your system also. So this is your system. In virtual machine, you know how I am running the Java, we have a JDK, right? We have a JRE, we have a Eclipse or any other editor, right? So I install my system. So same thing in the dev environment. One virtual machine, not I am giving the example. This is your dev environment. Okay, this is your dev environment and this is your test. Okay, every environment having the virtual machine, just consider that env, and this is your prod. Okay, so this is your virtual machine, this is your VMs. Okay, VM, this is VM1 and VM, all are the VM means your computer. Just consider this is your computer, okay, or laptop. So in this VMs we have to install Java, because application we are running, right? JDK, just consider this is your JDK, because JDK having the Java one, right? And also install just JDK is a software, no worry about of that. Just consider this is the JDK software. If JDK is not there, then how to run your application, right? So what happened in JDK software, my app is here install, means in this VM my app is there, my app application. So in virtual machine my app application is there, but what happened when developer is executing the build, he is getting some problem with memory problem, that is like out of bound memory, right? Out of bound memory. So this problem is called error. This is not related to code, it is related to the software installation in the virtual machine. Got it, right? So when he is getting this type of the error, memory error, heap area is full, that is the related to the Java stuff, heap area and method area and stack area is full. So this problem is related to software problem or system problem, that is called error. Okay, developer is not able to fix this type of the error. If it is able to fix, that is called defect. Error means this is not related to our coding stuff. Error means it is related to system stuff or software stuff which is installed in the VMs, virtual machine. So we have another team that is called DevOps team. So DevOps team is maintaining this all the VM stuff. In dev environment 100 VMs are there. In 100 VM they have to install the JDK or JBoss or other software. So in DevOps also we have a many automation tool to work in the DevOps. So DevOps is also very good profile, but no problem, every profile is good if you are having the good knowledge. You can earn the money from any profile if you have a good knowledge. Okay, so I think you got some idea about of error. Defect means this is my app application. Okay, my app application. So here we are getting the coding problem issue. Coding problem means they have developed the login page, or login page is not displayed properly, right? So when you are going to test this application, this functionality is not working properly or login page is not working properly. So this is called defect. It is not related to system, it is related to functionality of the application. Might be it is a logical or front end, whatever, or if you are going to display this, this pop-up is not properly displayed, or anything else that related to functionality, that is called defect. Might be here we have this login page, or when you are going to click here, so without entering username and password, it is logging the application. So this is called defect, right? So how to contact with, this is your testing job, what I'm going to tell you. So what you will go and you will write here all the steps. Hey developer, so we have many defect tracking tools. So defect tracking tool is nothing but it is a communication between the one team to another team, right? Sorry. Okay, so I will tell to developer, hey, I will take this a screenshot also, and then you have to explain all the things what is going to happen and highlight this. Hey, I am getting this defect, please look into that. Then developer will go to your defect and will open that defect and will try to work on that. So while working the defect, we have a tracking a status, because we have to track, right? Because we are getting the defect, then we have to track that. So sometime it is showing the in progress, mean developer is already working. After developer is worked on, then again he will send the defect to you to test one more time. Hey, I did this, whatever I fixed it defect, look into that. Again you will go and again you will test. Again we are getting some problem, so again you have to tell to developer, hey, still it is not working as per expectation, please look into one more time. Okay, or please look into that. So again the developer will go. So this communication will happen with you and developer. So when defect is it's working fine, then you can close the defect and you can leave it. Defect is closed and functionality is working fine, you have to give the communication. This is your job only, writing the test cases, finding the scenario. If you are getting the defect, you have to raise the defect, you have to contact developer, that is the things. But in the software field, for interview purpose, they will ask many things, so that's why I explore all the types of the testing. So we have what is a static testing? It is a type of testing in which one will perform the testing on the application or release factor without performing any action. Sometimes the senior people in one application, they are working since 10 years or they are having the 15 years of the experience, so they will do the static testing, just look and fill, not doing anything, just go and will check this application, or okay, like that, look and fill how this application it is after developing this. So they will just check this randomly stuff and measure stuff of that. So that is called a static testing. GUI testing or documentation testing or code review, graphics user interface. What is a stability testing? So it is a type of, name itself a stability. So it will test the stability of your application. Okay, name itself a stability, right? So it is a type of testing in which one will perform the abnormal action internally, intentionally, continuously on the application in order to check the stability of the application. Why to do a stability testing? This is a kind of testing helps user to understand the way the system will work in real life situation, right? So I will give you some example of this. Hence, stability testing allow you to check, provide the confidence in the stability of your system under the test, ensure that your system can handle a large program, monitor the effectiveness of your system, test system stability under the stress. It play a very important role in the product development, as it is used to determine the limitation of the software product under the test before it is released, or area of the more improvement before the product goes live as a production. So shopping portal, simply I can give you one example. So Big Billion Day, right? So obviously whatever the traffics are there right now, if they're having some offer like the big billions day, they have to might be traffic, they have some expectation of the traffic on your application, how many users will log in the application at a time, right? So right now in the Flipkart, they have some data, every month, every year having some data. Hey, how many in India, how many users are using my application, or they having a country wise data, right? In data science and data analytics, so all the things will come in the data science. They are doing the business through the data only, right? So might we have a 10 lakh users, normal users, 10 lakh users are using this application at a time, but then when we have an offer like big billions day, might, so they having some expectation like they can use 50 lakh users. They are considering that 50 lakh users, but they will make the application 2 lakh, and 90 lakh users are able to log in my application, because they have considered this expectation, right? So 50 lakh users will use that, but they don't know, might be the users will increase, right? So they will make it 90 lakh users log in my application at a time. So they are checking the stability of the application, they are testing that. Might be they did not test this. So if the offer time, if Flipkart will went down, you can see huge loss, right? Because the other customer, we have another competitor of this e-commerce, so this is the business for our application is stable, right? So when they will do this stability testing, got it, right? So anyhow they have divided the different type of the testing before releasing the product in your before releasing the application in the production environment. Our application is stable and they don't want any downtime. Did you see any time the Flipkart or Amazon is going down? No, because they will lose. They are maintaining, they are spending more huge money on the maintenance of the application, because they will not spend, then what happened? They will lose. Got it, right? So how the tester is important, how the tester role is important in your software industry. If you did not test properly, then bug will go in the production field, production environment. Then what happened? If something went wrong, the escalation will come to you, right? So how the testing is very important. Developer did, but the tester role is very important to test the application and provide the quality of the application, right, in the production environment. So I told you, if you are the master in any profile, you having the good package, it doesn't matter, okay, to become the master, that's it. So here a common example of a stability testing technique is online shopping portal. A stability testing will check how many website will be have when high amount of data enter the peak point. So they're having some peak point, right? Like they will make it the peak point 90 lakh users. Okay, number of hits at a specific time. Okay, they will also test at a time 90 lakh users is able to log in or not. Page load issue at the same time. If 90 lakh users is login the application at a time, my application is my application is working, right? It is loading, we have some timing of loading this application, right? If you can say sometime the website is loading, what happens? User will not wait for more time, right? So behavior of system means after will check this how it's working like fine or not, after launching this application, how it behaves like for providing the at a time certain peak, a specific peak time. So responsiveness of the system and many more comes under the stability testing. So someone will ask, what is the stability testing? You can give any example for them, right? So e-commerce is the best example for the stability testing, and another testing also, load testing, stress testing. So all will come inside this, I will come on that. That is called non-functional testing. So now we have mix it all, but I will tell you what is functional and what is non-functional testing. So we have a dynamic testing. Dynamic testing is a kind of software testing technique using which name itself define the testing. Got it, right? So dynamic testing means here it will, you can, we have this message, helper message, enter your name or mobile number. So I'm going to enter this one. So enter your valid email ID. So we will check all the possibility of this. Or if I will, this is the negative testing, I did that if I have a valid email ID, right? I cannot tell you here. I have a valid email ID, right? So my valid email ID. So I will check it, the valid means at least okay, so just consider this is the valid email ID. I will check this valid email ID. So negative will also test it. Negative and positive is the different, but the dynamic testing means at least we will test, like you can take it like this is 9, 9 and 30. So they will test, I will test this the dynamic data for entering in the user field, it is working properly or not. Got it, right? So here we will test negative and positive stuff, always we will test, okay? But dynamically if I will entering this email ID, it is working fine or not. So it is not for only email ID, different data also, right? So this is dynamic testing is a kind of testing technique using which the dynamic behavior of the code is analyzed. Suppose we are testing the login page where we have to fill username and password. Username is restricted, and we will also check this username accordingly, like alphanumeric. You can see sometime if you are entering any register, any pages, if you are the new users, hey, your your password should be alphanumeric or caps or your lowercase, right? This all the stuff. So they will also test that, right? They will also test, we will enter dynamic password, and we will also check this, it is working fine or not. They have mentioned, hey, this is the at least one alphanumeric should be there. Obviously we will check all the alphanumeric, it working or fine or not dynamically. But here also we will do what? Negative testing also. So when the users enter the users as a Mohit, that system accept same, whereas when user enter this, then application throws an error. So this result shown the code is acting the dynamically based on the user input. You can take the negative testing, you can take the positive data, you can take the same data, you can check the same data in the different numbers, and you can take like alphanumeric, we have all the alphanumeric. So dynamic value we are going to test, that's it. What does dynamic testing do? The main aim of dynamic testing to ensure that software works properly during and after the installation of the software, ensuring the stable application without any major flaw. Flaw means like the defect. So this statement is made because of no software is error free, and testing only can show the presence of defect and not absence. Okay, so the main purpose of dynamic testing is to ensure that consistency to the software. Okay, so I have given one example. We can in a banking application we find the different screen like my account section, fund transfer, bill pay, etc. All these are a screen contain amount field which accept some character. Let's see, my account field display amount 25,000 and fund transfer as they are entering this, so it is showing like $25,000, and bill pay screen is this amount is same. The way amount is displayed is not same, hence making the software non-consistency, right? So consistency is not only limited to the functionality, it also refer a different standard like performance, usability, compatibility. Okay, hence it become a very important to perform the dynamic testing. You guys got some overview of this dynamic testing, right? So you can give the many example of the dynamic testing. Simply you can go through the one example and explain in your interview, right? So we have a compatibility testing. Simply compatibility testing means it is a type of testing. One will test the application that is suitable with all the environment or not. In case of web application, so I have developed this my app application. So my app application I have developed, right? So I'm going to tell you my app application. So now we will test in operating system it is working on fine or not. All the operating system, Microsoft, Windows, Linux, Mac. In operating system we have also the version, right? 8.1 version, 10 version, Windows 10, Windows 8.1. We will test all the version also. Same thing in browsers. If I am able to launch my application in my Chrome browser or not. In Chrome browser we have a legacy version and we have a current version. So we will also test all the legacy version and new version my application is launching properly or not for all browsers, Opera or Safari, IE, Firefox, and we will test the what version also. That is called compatibility testing, right? So in this type of testing one will test the application is suitable with all the environment or not. In case the web page, all the browsers or application is suitable or not. In case of product or Windows based application, right? So Windows based application, this is Notepad is your Windows based application, calculator is your Windows based application. Okay, this is your Windows based application, right? So this all the I am going to test in your Windows or Mac or another Linux, Ubuntu. This all the flavors, right? If you have a web application, we'll test in the browser for all the version. So mostly this type of the testing is implemented on the product based company like Microsoft, Facebook and Google. So we have alpha testing, right? So I told you, right, that yesterday alpha testing, beta testing, right? So before delivering to the client, it is a type of user acceptance testing. Name itself user acceptance testing conducted in the software company by their test engineer in the presence of user just before delivery the application. So they are deliver the application to the client. While delivering the application, the test engineer will do the testing in the presence of the client. Then it will deliver the just TCS. TCS is a company, a service-based company, and we have a client of Amazon. So Amazon and TCS. So we are providing the service to the Amazon. TCS people giving the service to the Amazon people. So what happened? This TCS test engineer guy and this the presence of client. So client is Amazon guy will test in the presence of client people. He will test this application, and after that it will test properly, and everything is going fine. Then it will deliver to the software to the Amazon portal. That's it. Not Amazon portal, to deliver to the production. Got it right? So that is called before delivering to the client. So it is a type of testing. So before delivery to the market. So he provided a deliver to the Amazon. So it is a type of the testing which all either end user or third party testing expert perform the testing to the customer place just before actual implementation. What happened? The Amazon people again it will test the application. He delivered to the Amazon guy. Okay. Then Amazon people again will test the application before delivery in the production field, production environment, or delivered to the market. Got it right? So this is called your beta testing, and this is called your alpha testing. Okay. So we have a testing called Adhoc testing. So Adhoc testing is nothing but this is the random testing. Okay. What happened? Sometime client want to test application. They have a less time and they want to test this application. So very expert people are there. So Adhoc testing is an informal testing type with the aim to break the system. Okay, this testing is usually to unplanned activity. Suddenly got the requirement. It does not follow any test design technique to create the. I will tell you what is the test design technique in the coming session. Okay, to create the test cases. What is the test cases at our coming session? After types of the testing, I will start this all the test cases and stuff. So in fact, it does not create test case altogether. So this testing is primarily performed if the knowledge of tester in the system under the test is very high. I will give you the example. Okay, so we'll go through once this theory. Then tester randomly tests the application without any test cases or any business requirement document. So Adhoc testing does not follow any structural way of testing. It is a random. Actually, I join any organization. The organization have given, hey, can you test this application? So according to your knowledge, we have to test the application. We don't have any document and all. So according to my knowledge, randomly I will check this. Okay, randomly data I will take and I will test this randomly. Any data I will take, right? So yeah, it must be like actual and expected. So I know that how this Flipkart is working. If you will join in the different other organization, they having the healthcare domain. I did not work on the healthcare, so they want to tell you do Adhoc testing because I don't know. I don't have too much knowledge about healthcare domain. So who will do that? The people who is having the more experience, already working on that project. So they will do because they know positive and negative testing. what it will accept and what it will not accept, right? So that is called your, because this is random testing, random data we are giving, that we are not following anything another thing according to knowledge, just we are trying to break the application, or randomly they are testing this application, right? So that is called ad hoc testing. Okay, so ad hoc testing does not follow any structural way of testing. It is a randomly done any part of the application, and main aim of this testing is to find the defect by random checking. Ad hoc testing can be achieved with the testing technique called error guessing. Okay, so we have a testing technique called error guessing, so I will tell you error guessing coming session. Okay, so error guessing can be done by the people having the enough experience in the system, right? Guess, right? Itself guess and the most likely source of error. So this testing required no documentation planning process to the followed, since testing aim to finding the defect through random approach without any documentation. Defect will not be mapped to test cases, hence sometimes it is a very difficult to reproduce the defect, right? So this is problem, right? Because the people who is new and they have given, you have to do ad hoc testing, so very difficult, right, for them. So there is no test steps or requirement map it. So when execute ad hoc testing can be performed when there is limited time to elaborate the testing. So usually ad hoc testing is performed after the formal test execution, and if time permit, or ad hoc testing can be done on the system, and ad hoc testing will be effectively only if the tester is knowledgeable of your system under the test. Okay, so this all testing I have done it. So my expectation is I'm going to stop your session